Hello, everyone. I believe that you can hear me and have been able to hear me for a little while. I'm going to do two things. Firstly, I'm going to ask a quick poll to ask, are you a UK listener or viewer? Yeah, ask the community. But also there's this Q&A function, which I've never really looked at how well that functions. There's a decent number of you in here. Hello, everyone. What a day. Yeah. Double Gareth. Is it Double Gareth? No, I'm here. Right. Anyway, double audio. What? Where and how? How is it double audio? It shouldn't be. Is it double audio? No. Jack Elliott disagrees. It's not double audio. There's no double audio. Oh, don't scare me about this. Jack, you're scaring me. This is supposed to be beautiful. I'm here. I'm eating the mic. I'm doing my very best eat the mic situation. Hello, everyone. It's me, Gareth Dennis, host of the Rail Natters series, according to LBC this morning. It's weird having noted reactionary maniac Nick Ferrari saying, host of the Rail Natters series. I don't know what that is, but it's what I'm the host of, apparently. Anyway, what a day. What a day. It's been a day for a variety of reasons, but chief among them, of course, because we're looking at, there's a last-minute change. Leo sends his apologies for a very last-minute alteration to the schedule of an otherwise live episode. It was going to be a techie one. It will be a techie one. It will indeed be a techie one. Soon. A couple of episodes away, probably. Episode 173, though, this is going to be the Great British Ticket Office closure, because, of course, today we've had the formal announcement by government, because this is a government announcement, everyone. It's not train operating companies. They're just doing what they've been told. A formal announcent of the fact that the government intends to just close all ticket offices, apart from, perhaps... Oh, Jarrett's saying, watch my S's. Oh, see, I've got a... Wait, let me go big face. Look, I've got a nice... cover that should be covering and avoiding any any kind of plosive pop clicks there. My S has that. Sorry, everyone. Grace Griffin. Anyway, it's fine. Anyway, I digress. Great British Ticket Office closure. Everyone's live in the chat. Hello, everyone in the chat. It's a solo. It's going to be a big face chat episode for the most part. Of course, we are talking about the announcement that we're going to close loads of ticket offices, and it's ridiculous. The only ones they're going to leave open are a couple of major stations across the country. But so stations about the size of what DFT B stations. Some B stations are retaining. Huddersfield, York, are a couple of examples up this end of the country, but nothing bigger than that, nothing smaller than that. They're all gone. The issue being. This is bad for all sorts of reasons. Safety, revenue, and accessibility. These are several serious issues that are, just not good. Not good. And we're going to talk about this, in some level of detail, and basically chuck all your questions, thoughts. 83% of people watching are UK folks. So, yeah, this is going to be a bit of a UK-focused episode. I know that they often are. I know Rail Natter is a UK thing, but we like to have a bit of an international view every now and then. And I have some guests lined up with a bit more international view coming up. But this is a bit of a UK episode because the mess that we're in the UK has continued. And it's continuing. The malaise, the malice, the intention to just run down the railways as a going concern. All that good stuff. We're going to cheer ourselves up in no way whatsoever. We're also going to have a look at the COVID stats for the first time in a while, which will be should be quite interesting because we haven't picked up those trends for a while. That's all in tonight's episode. Everyone, welcome to tonight's Rail Natter. As the Intercity 225 fades away. We're going to have to think about this guy. Yeah, that's right, the klaxon's going off. I have a suspicion and it's a suspicion based on a reasonable historic understanding and an understanding of general revenue and ridership on the railways at the moment, that what government have proposed today will result in a greater reduction in railway revenue than anything Beeching ever proposed, and everything that happened after Beeching. So all the reshaping closures and any closures after that resulted in less revenue loss, I would guess, than the revenue loss that this ticket office closure will result in. More on that momentarily, though, because while we have this... Oh, by the way, and there's a nice bit of protest in this image. We should all be protesting. This is like on the streets worthy stuff. This is like write angrily to everyone you can possibly write to. Let's start with the COVID trends, though, shall we? Because this is somewhat... Jarrett AO is asking, what is a ticket office exactly? Jarrett, hold that question. We'll come back to that momentarily after we've done the trends. This is the UK UK overall travel recovery, 28-day rolling averages. The top one is cycling. The bottom blue one is rail. The pink one here is bus outside of London. And the red one is the motor car. Private cars and taxis, basically. So here's the trend running up to where the latest data sort of sits, which is kind of some way through June, which is not bad. Actually, we might have almost to the last week in June, actually. I think it's fairly recently been updated. We've timed this well. So, where are we at? Well, we know what happened in 2020. First of all, let's look at the overall trend, which is a pretty steady trend of recovery, really, for rail, our blue line. And even on the 28-day rolling average, you can see here that there is a consistent over 100% ridership spike. Christopher Fox, you're making very good points. Yeah, hold your question. Yeah, the discussion is chaotic. We'll have a proper chat about it momentarily. Yes, agreed though on all these thoughts. Lots of people talking about Equality Act. Absolutely. We're going to come to the Equality Act momentarily. So let's zoom in. So we know what happened in 2020, bad things. We know that the recovery through 2021 was pretty rapid, other than the fact that Omicron appeared at the end of the year. 2022 was sort of steady state, in honesty. We had the removal of measures, we had timetable changes, we had strikes, more strikes, up and down all over the place. And 2023 is about a return to... a beleaguered, frankly, return to the norm, because ridership is pretty much at, and you can see here that it was kind of just jumping over 100%, and actually it's now reaching a point where it's on multiple weeks, in fact, even almost for like 2-3 weeks in the hoof, over 100% ridership. It's dropping away again recently, but don't forget these numbers often get updated. So yeah, but also remember we're running less than 100% of pre-COVID timetable, so less than 100% timetable, and we also have of that we're still having maybe in some cases 20% cancelled trains on some routes. So it's no bloody wonder that ridership is not climbing above that point. There is no bloody wonder. I'm going to bring my little face in the top corner. Anyway, so the news. We're going to go through the news, and then it's just going to be a big face open chat. This is, ridership is nearly what it was despite fewer trains. Exactly, King Jimmy. Precisely. Hello, Peter. Lovely to see you. Yes, everything on Twitter is causing rage. Yeah, so my car on here is a revenue of 1 in 9 ticket sales to be lost. Because essentially 1 in 9 tickets is bought in a ticket office. And whilst that number has kind of gently been reducing, the point is that it's still, I think the national average is about 12% of tickets are sold. So even just in a pure revenue perspective, it does not make any sense to close ticket offices. That is revenue that more than pays for the ticket offices being open. So for starters, this is not about money, because there is no saving to be made here. This is about more than just the ticket offices. To answer Jarrett's question, ticket office is a kiosk with a staffed kiosk in a station where someone can provide information, assistance, a single source of kind of information, particularly for accessibility, consistently in feedback from disabled passengers, It's that a ticket office means that there is someone that passenger. Usually they're at the front of they're at front of house in the station. So a passenger, for example, in a wheelchair, can know where they're going to be able to speak to someone to understand what the assistance require. What assistance is available at that station. Consistently, the feedback is that platform-based or concourse or roving staff is not what is needed from the mainline railway. That works on TfL. A lot of people have said, TfL did this. Yeah, it does work on TfL, but that's because TfL has a metro type system where fares aren't in question. There's no complexity of fares. Also, you have to, TfL has serious accessibility problems. So, it's very frustrating. Anyway, do at me when you've got a comment that you want me to read out. The train hopper, a ridership versus number of round trips graph would be helpful for comparison. Does that data exist? Probably. You could get that breakdown from. No, I'm not sure that data does exist. Actually, I'm not sure round trip data does exist. Someone else clever than me could probably go into that. Ryan Hogg, you're atting me, but I'm missing your comments. Ticket machines are viable, absolutely, but the point is there's so much more that ticket offices offer, and we'll kind of get into this. So, as some of you have already alluded to the Equality Act 2010. Nearly every railway ticket office in England set to close. This is worth also saying. This is not Wales. This is not Scotland. This is just England. Nearly every railway ticket office in England set to close with a number of job losses unknown. Well, indeed. This is being ostensibly led by the Rail Delivery Group, an organisation that I look forward to not existing anymore. It says it cannot prejudge the outcome of closure rail station consultation. Consultation is a bit of a messed up subheading here. Basically, the consultations that Transport Focus are leading on, which all of you should get involved in and be angry on. But hopes affected staff will leave or take new jobs. Marvellous. Isn't that wonderful? Hopes affected staff will leave or take new jobs. It's a really weird line for them to have given anyway. To give an example of what this looks like, LNER have posted a little graphic, so they're planning to close booking offices at Berwick, Durham, Darlington, Wakefield Westgate, Retford, Newark Northgate and Grantham. You look at Retford sells 12% of its tickets at the booking office, at the ticket office. So that's 12% of its income, and I dare say that'll be more than 12% of revenue, because those are often TUAG fares, which are more expensive than the advanced online purchase tickets. So I'd be interested to know what the revenue is, but I have a sneaking suspicion that'll be more than 12% revenue from Retford. If, just like the IRP, no one in government gives a shit about Retford. This is what we can all learn, because the IRP literally strips Retford of its current service. So, marvellous. This is not good for TfL. Johnson screwed over London passengers. You can't buy annual tickets from machines, for sure. So it's saying, this is going through the things that you can and cannot do. So it's saying impacted stations, so stations where where there'll be closures. So it's saying you can. So impacted stations, it's saying you can do walk-up and advance tickets. You cannot do season tickets. You can do weekly season. You cannot do season replacement. They also do, what else? Yeah, you can see now. So you can't do Rovers and Rangers. You can't do excesses. You can't buy a rail card. No photo cards. No refunds. You can't get seat reservations, and no privs, no staff discount travel. Yikes. This is just a massive reduction. So lots of questions. So this is LNER, but the consultations are being put out. It's being fronted. It's being very deliberately and carefully staged to look like a train operator by train operator process, and partly that's because of the weird legal framework that this is happening within. But this is, I know. Uncritical Simon makes a good point. Why are they saying you'll be able to buy on the train when the message for decades has been you must buy before you board? Absolutely, yeah. So this is really, really, really very messy. So Let's have a look. Let's go big face and answer some questions, because there's quite a few things going around here. Let's chat. So the train hopper. We've done that point, actually. Sorry. Right, I'm going to go right to the top. So there are a few people. We're going to get to accessibility. I'm going to just address it smack bang straight off. Yes, this is. I'm fairly confident, and okay, government will find a way of worming their way out of it, but this will be in breach of the Equality Act 2010. Stations, most of the, a lot of the stations here that that we're talking about, if they lose the ticket office, they lose the staffing at the station. And don't be under any illusion that this is a like for like move, like moving those skilled staff, knowledgeable staff, and trained staff and unionized staff out onto the other side of the glass. No. This is a way to expand the use of 0 hours contract gate line staff, that level of staffing that are not unionized because they're outsourced, and getting them onto the platform to have to sell tickets. The skills, the knowledge of the staff that are within booking offices, the whole point is that you get rid of them because they're unionized, and you don't have to pay, and therefore you don't have to pay them. They don't have, they're not on the same increments. You can start from scratch and pay zero, kind of low hour, low contract rates to a bunch of outsourcing staff. That's the point of this. So from an accessibility perspective, those staff are unlikely to have the training required to do things like fit ramps. So the expectation, therefore, will be, but the on-train staff will be able to fit the ramp, which then is a reduction in provision from existing condition, which is not acceptable in accordance with the Equality Act 2010. Lawyers, check this. But so interestingly, I put my name my name is among a few of the names on the Association of British Commuters letter that went to the EHRC, which is a screwed organisation, admittedly, but functionally supposed to get involved here, and the ORR. The ORR, I'm afraid, is a toothless regulator. They have nothing they can do. They just do exactly what government tells them. Absolute perfect example of regulatory capture. They have written a letter, which will be roundly ignored, but they have written the letter. I've not actually put this in the slides because I had to pull these slides together in a very short space of time. There's a letter on Twitter. You can go. In fact, you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to get the dang letter. Let's go. Let's get Twitter up, and let's go to the Association of British Commuters. There we are. We follow each other. That's nice. Hello, everyone in ABC. Yes, the ORR have indeed. There we go. Look, lovely. Fine. Let's just go to Smallface. This is the ORR letter. So the ORR sent this letter today. This is from Jackie Russell. I think I've met, actually, and interviewed. Anyway, this is kind of partly in response to prompts from the likes of ABC. But station ticket office reforms, operators today publish consultations, yada, yada, yada. Changes to office opening hours. This is, this is considered to be a major change. Operators must publish details of their proposals with passengers invited. This falls under the kind of essentially the hang-ons from the Transport Act 1962 and 1968, funnily enough. So this is kind of this is literally back to beaching days. But the important thing is this bit: accessible travel policy review. All train and station operators must establish and comply with an ATP as a condition of their license, setting out the provision for disabled passengers. Accessible travel policies must meet the detailed requirements set out in our guidance. While these requirements are next page of the letter, particularly relevant to disabled people, such as the provision of assistance to travel, they can equally be applied more widely. And in this context, that includes requirements related to ticketing and passenger information. The annex extracts those aspects of the ATP guidance that are potentially relevant to changes to station ticket staffing and ticket offices. We're seeking an initial understanding of the areas where we believe that early engagement on changes will be helpful. We do not expect to request or receive revised ATP documentation until there is more certainty over the changes that may be implemented. Generally, this is a little bit of a shot across the bow, but I'm afraid I don't believe that there is anything that the ORR can actually do to stop DFT from pushing forwards, because cleverly the DFT are the decision maker of last resort under the situation where the private railway actually functions as a private railway. That's obviously not the case. The DFT control everything. So the DFT are the ones who get to pat themselves on the back and say, yes, we approve all this that we've told you to do in the first place. So not a hugely healthy situation. Right. So that was Jarrett's question. Rail focus. Would Merseyrail be affected? It's a good question, actually. So let me just pull up Philip Haig. Let me just get Phil. Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. Phil, where are you? Phil at Rail. Phil. There he is. Because Phil published the full RDG letter, and I have a suspicion that should have the full. Philip Haig, very much worth following. He's been publishing as much information as he's getting access to. I have hopefully this will list all the train operators where this is happening on, but I have a suspicion that it includes all of the station. I don't know to what extent devolution to Merseyrail means that Merseyrail won't do this, but we can probably find out by going to Mersey Travel, actually. Merseyrail. Let's see what Merseyrail. If Merseyrail have tweeted today. No. If Merseyrail have tweeted today, then I have a suspicion that the fact they haven't released a consultation thing, you might have escaped it. Chris, Rail Focus. You may have escaped it. Merseyrail may not be affected. It is appalling news. This is against EA. DDA is the old 1998 thing, it's subsumed into the Equality Act 2010. But yes, this is completely in breach of DDA. It's not just about ramp fitting, it's about the presence of someone to provide support. What this really means is for a lot of disabled passengers, their local station, which, bearing in mind that already, how many is it? It's like 1 in 7. Is it 1 in 7 or maybe 1 in 5 stations? I think it's maybe 1 in 7 stations is unstaffed. If that goes up to what will it be? It'll be like 1 in 1,000 stations is staffed, or maybe 1 in 500 stations is staffed. That essentially means that disabled people, depending on their disability, won't be able to travel. That just writes them off. They're just gone. Which is absolutely a breach of EA 2010. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, Tom is also pointing this out. Okay, is this closure meaning that railways will be in breach of their requirement under the Equality Act 2010? I believe so, but I'm not a lawyer. Yes, so let's have a look. Zandovic, putting the accessibility issues to one side, the fact that DFT HMT can consider this without major ticket reforms and full support for just digital sales is crazy. Yeah, that's a good point. So let's go small face again. I made this point. This is a more dramatic moment for the future of the railways than the release of this report. A more dramatic moment, and represents a bigger threat to the way the service functions, and will represent a bigger hit to revenue. The reason I've gone here is because Tom Cairns of Real Time Trains fame. There's Tom. Shout out to Tom. Hi, Tom. Personal opinion time. Today's proposals are not surprising but disappointing. There's far too much leaning on technology advancements within the industry, which the industry, with some exceptions, is generally poor at. The fare system is Byzantine and needs reform before retail can change. This is a slippery slope and will see us move rapidly to a Swedish light system within a few years. It's bad news. It's not good, I promise you. Great example earlier. My normal app of choice decided to refuse to work. 403S under the hood, it seems. That's a nerd reference for online and internet and tech people. Went to ticket office instead. I've seen instances of technology failure in the past, and I've watched passengers get shafted by it. The onus is placed on the passenger to have the right ticket, but the industry doesn't help itself when the technology fails. That friction needs reducing, and there seems to be little evidence of that. Man in C61 also, Mark Smith also did a thread talking about the very thing that you've raised there, which is why does it keep jumping up to the top? How bizarre. Let me see. Barry Jones pointed out the Mersey Travel already have some weird station arrangements. Yeah. Merseyrail confirmed they're not affected. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Chris Jackson as well. Oh, hey, Chris. Lovely to see you here. So this let's see. Fiona Donaldson. Railway staff are already demonised and blamed for the downfall of the railways and its level of service. They'll be scapegoated for these closures. Absolutely. It'll be like, those ruddy unions. They're the ones who've caused this. Let's see. Looking forward to the great combination of buy on the train, driver-only operation, and automatic gate lines. Yeah, exactly. Good luck actually getting anywhere on the railway. Hopeless. Yeah, absolutely. This is just so frustrating. What were we talking about? So Xander, yeah, you were making the point about where's your comment? It's run off. It's just gone. Anyway, that's fine. YouTube being wonderful. Sorry, Chris Jackson's making the point that's worth pointing out. Germany and Sweden don't have inter-available ticketing, and operators don't even sell tickets for each other's trains, significantly less user-friendly than the current UK arrangements. That's kind of what Tom Cairns is referring to, by the way, everyone. Mark Harper is the worst Secretary of State we've had in our lifetimes, yes. He's a nasty piece of work with no interest in transport, and somehow even worse than Shapps. I was in a conversation earlier today, and I was saying that Grayling was... McLaughlin was actually really quite good and understood the deal in terms of how transport, I don't share many of his politics, but he was probably the best that we had in the line. Justin Greening was a bit meh. McLaughlin was pretty good. Grayling second after that, and they've just got worse since. So, Shapps was a calamity, but Harper is actively damaging. So seriously problematic. Tim Davis, I think there already is a lawsuit, because already government was being pushed legally on this because of the by ABC and by others on accessibility about some of the changes to staffing, because this was the unions had already been pointing out that this was on the table. I was trying to make a point, and I keep waffling my way around it, and I need to focus to actually say the thing that I keep dodging left, right, and centre. Fares reform. This is the sort of thing that you could argue as a potential way to two factors, basically. So there are two things. Sorry, Tom, I'm going to start scribbling. Thing number one is fares reform. This is a thing you need to do first. Fares reform needs to happen first. Thing number two, well, actually, there's three things. I'm going to put number three over here as well. Thing number two is level access, and I say level access rather than level boarding, because that means from three S's in access there for no reason. Level access means getting from the street into the train. So that's lifts, it's AFA, and it's level boarding. You cannot do this work without a substantial percentage of the rail network having full level access from street to seat. Oh, I like that. Street to seat. Let's call it that. No, let's not. Street to train. Level access. The third thing is the percentage of tickets in booking, the percentage of tickets actually booked in halls needs to drop. 1 in 9 is too many. That's way too many. While it's still at 1 in 9, this isn't something that you should countenance. So until these three things have been sorted, so until you do fares reform, until you've got level access, until you've reduced the percentage of fares sold in ticket offices way, way down, this is just something that shouldn't be countenanced, let alone being rushed through as a threat to the unions. Because the context is obviously key here. This is absolutely all about how to try and win against the unions, because so far they've been losing. Mr. Harper is going to get a surprise at the next election. Some of the posters I've seen are amazing. Oh, good. Fingers crossed. I hope he gets kicked out. Is Harper in a safe seat? I think he is, yes. Right, so Christopher Fox, when I worked in disability charities, it was hard enough to get organisations to comply with the EA 2010. Accessibility has gone backwards since 2010. This will make disabled people stay home. I have to agree, Chris. It's really, really not good. It's really, really not good. Keep your eyes on the prize. A tax cut for the wealthy a month before the next election. I may have editorialised that slightly there, Richard. Yes, right. I'm going to press a button on here to see what this does. Start a Q&A. Start Q&A. No. Let's see. If I say go and start Q&A, what does this do? Does this do anything? Oh, questions. Oh, see, I've kind of lost the chat now. I'm trialing the Q&A thing to see if this works. I'm going to end the poll now. Just get rid of that and hide that. Fine. I've said go. Does this work? Is this a thing? Tell me. Is there questions? Oh, I can go to questions or live chat. Tell me if that's worked. Anyway, fine. As a population, we lack the IT literacy to manage this. I'm still getting paper tickets in 2023. What does it do? I don't know what the Q&A thing does. I don't know whether it's going to make it more streamlined, and that if you send questions to me, I'll see them pop up. Apparently not. Fiona Donaldson makes another very good point. Great welcome to tourists as well. Come to our ghost town stations, and good luck trying to figure it all out. Yeah, right at the time when Network Rail is trying to create a sort of a better model station and expand and improve stations architecturally, this sort of thing is happening. It's just dismal. It's pretty mind-blowing. Right, let's go big face and chuck me your questions. Go, everyone, chuck me your questions. I'm now big face. We can bring things up to scribble. Vivek Vile, I'm going to drive home now, so shout abuse at me because I won't be able to defend myself. Okay. Matt Reed, when did YouTube start having all these fancy options? Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. Gareth is pointing out that in the 2019 election, Harper had basically 60% of the vote. So it's pretty hefty. Oh, yeah, I'm not happy, Bunny, because it's so transparent. Like, don't. Firstly, this is government decree. It's coming straight from HMT. It's coming from Treasury, abolish the Treasury, etc. So that's the first thing. So this is not really the train operating companies. Train operating companies are just basically concessions now, anyway. So don't fall for that trick. Next thing not to fall for is the idea that this is a transfer of station staff, of booking office staff, from behind glass to in front of glass. That's not the situation. The situation is those staff, the intention is those staff are Thanos'd. They disappear out of the industry and are not paid. The whole point of this is a big cost saving. That's what this is all about. Rail Focus, what will this mean for Day Ranger Rover tickets? I suspect it means that a lot of them will just be Control-A deleted. I suspect the sales of them will drop away to the point where they can be... Another way to look at this, and it's kind of a good question that leads into this, Chris, is the fact that this is probably being seen as a way to do rail reform in the way that Treasury want, which is to just get rid of the tickets that represent a saving. So all the clever tickets that allow you they're more flexible to the type of travel that you do and provide a bit of a saving. Those are more difficult to buy unless you're in a ticket office, and therefore, if you're not able to buy them, the number of the tickets being sold will decrease, and that'll justify just getting rid of them. These are all the things to keep sharply in mind. B Crossing, do I think this will actually go through, given that there is opposition to it? So, the timeline for this is being talked about as government is pushing as much of this to happen by Christmas. Obvious reason for that being they want it to happen before the general election. So if they aim for Christmas, by May, we'll have maybe seen a lot of this happening. So what we need to do is absolutely quagmire all of this in responses to consultations. There needs to be there need to be tens of thousands of people, ideally hundreds of thousands of people, responding to consultations aggressively, negatively, in individual detail. There was an RMT session just started at 6 that goes into some good details. A live stream going out. I suggest you can go back and watch that on Twitter. This is absolutely a move towards more layoffs. Agreed. CE 183 for sure. Richard Smith, I love the argument that this simultaneously saves money while putting staff out and having no impact on services available. They're having a laugh. Yeah, it's just a joke. Like the idea that have a building, you're not going to bulldoze the ticket office, which means you have to maintain that building. So you're not changing anything about so the only way you're making that saving is by Thanosing the staff. So that means that it's transparent that this is a get rid of staff situation. This is not we're just going to change the way that we use the booking office. The booking office setup works well. It's like have the booking office and have roaming staff. A reminder to everyone, in most parts of the country, we need to be seeing more than double the number of passengers using the railways by the middle of the next decade, at the latest. That's what the TUC have come up with based on their estimates through, as we went through that episode a little while back. This is going to do the opposite. There is no point closing doors. The way, as Mark Smith has said, and Mark Smith is not as radical as I am about what the shape of the railway should be. He's much more agnostic about ownership of the system. But he is very, very knowledgeable, and he has said in no uncertain terms that this is the wrong way to be solving what the government see as the problem, which is the revenue gap. The way to plug the revenue gap is not cutting. Even Roger Ford has said this. There is nothing left to cut. Any cuts that you do to the rail system now will hit revenue directly. The only way that you can plug the revenue gap is by getting more revenue. By running more trains, by running the trains more reliably, by expanding the system, expanding the offering, improving the quality of the offering, and making it competitive with the other modes. However, we have a transport secretary who is actively hostile to rail in a way that Shapps was mostly incompetent and thought he was a useful idiot for Treasury's hostility in this case, Harper is a vigorous ally of Treasury's hatred of the railways. Harper is an enemy of the railways, absolutely. Lots of freedom of information requests as well. Tom's saying absolutely right. Yeah, Chris Jackson, clear indications from some senior insiders that they want as much response as possible during the consultations in order to roll back some of the most egregious proposals. So yeah, this is a situation. Yeah, Chris, thanks for that. It's very valuable input there. As ever when you join, Chris, always really glad to have you along. That's a very good point. So firstly, it's frustrating that those in the industry are not willing to or comfortable with speaking out loudly against these things. As an industry, we need to really respond vigorously against these proposals. These are not democratic. The idea that this is democratic, that there's any democratic process behind this is just not correct. We have at no point was this in any manifesto. At no point has this been voted for by people. This is just being brought through out of nowhere. So the idea that people, if anyone in industry spoke out, they'd be going against the will of the electorate, is just not applicable. So more people in industry need to speak out loudly about this, particularly those in senior positions. Where is Hendy? Where is Haynes? Where are the Hopwood? Where are the leaders in the industry? Horn, lovely David Horn. So much time for David, but needs to speak out about this. There needs to be a pushback. David's very clever at doing pushback, actually, in roundabout ways that tread the line. But this is so. Anyway, we can support those people. We can support those calls from the senior people in the industry to fight against this by flooding those consultations with responses, thousands, tens of thousands of responses, to just make that point that this is wrong. This is the wrong approach. And if nothing else, it slows the process down. Government don't care about what we think. They don't. The current government do not care. They just want, Treasury just want to obliterate railways. Robin Weston, not sure that staff being in front of glass is a big bonus to me as a customer. My local station has probably about a mile of platform face across all of them. Much harder to find than at a kiosk. Absolutely. Clapham Junction, how is it useful to not know where there's not a booking office? Mezzy, public consultation is the greatest way of saying you've made your mind up already. Gareth is asking, do you think the people would support keeping the offices open right now, given the occasionally hostile opinion to rail staff because strikes? Don't forget, public opinion is still very broadly in favour of striking staff. So don't buy too much into the idea that there are occasional people in the public who are angry about striking staff, but for the most part, Twitter does not represent those numbers well. The broader polling shows that the public are pretty vigorously supportive of striking staff. So I have a suspicion this is just going to anger the general public more. This is going to. But the idea, the trouble is that the Conservative Party are reducing the size of their base, as in their voter base. Every time they come up with new policies, they're narrowing that voter base. And so their current voter base is basically just people who drive around in a Mercedes who are over the age of 60 and under the age of 80. It's a very narrow band who have no interest in railways and who just think railways are a heritage feature. Yeah. Where will a member of staff store the multiple thousands of pounds taken for an annual season ticket when floor walking? I presume it'll be card only. Gareth is saying the people I come into in contact more in real life are gammons. I can only apologise, Gareth. It's Starlight saying mobilise people to use ticket offices more. Absolutely. The media, of course, is reporting this as modernisation and only the unions are opposed, which is absolute rot. I don't know. I've not necessarily seen that everywhere. The Beebs probably swallowed that line, unfortunately, because their online content is just really poor quality at the moment. Their online written content leaves a lot to be desired. But anyway, it's just not. Countering some of that propaganda is really important. Remy Cardona is saying ticket office is simply shuttered. Ticket machine is installed outside. A gate is installed to reach the platform without going through the station building. Yeah, it's pretty depressing. Roscoe is the biggest drain on railway resources of them all. Yeah, I know, right? Interesting. Oh my goodness. Let's see. I wonder if this will lose them more money than it saves. I think it will. I think it will. 11% of revenue is 242 million per quarter based on Q1 2023. Yeah, and that's a lot more than that's like a lot more than ticket offices cost. It's just, if we're to believe the propaganda about what they're doing with staffing, of course. We now know that Richard. We now know that reducing journey times increases demand and revenue. It's just incredible that anyone can be in a senior role while denying that. Absolutely. Remy is talking about what they look like in France. They're called Pang stations. Point d'arrêt non guerre. My French is dreadful. I'm so sorry. Guerre. Anyway, is that Gérer, sorry. Oh my god, my French pronunciation is awful. Unmanaged station, yeah, and then Remy is then going on to say ticket office simply shuttered, ticket machine installed outside, gate installed to reach the platform without going through the station building. Yeah, depressing. Oh, we've seen that though. That's happened in the UK. We've been through that pain already. Are the ticket offices in the plans for HS2 stations? Oh, good question. I think they probably were, but they're probably like customer interface spaces rather than booking offices. Deborah Beddoe, the thought of trying to find someone to help when you're having mobility issues or are trailing several children is scary. My 87-year-old mum can cope with the internet but prefers to buy at the station. Yeah, a lot of people do. Yeah, absolutely. Matt Reed, what about the whole thing about putting passengers first in customer service? That was always bollocks, unfortunately, Matt. Yeah, it's bollocks all around. It was always just a ploy. The only customer in this situation is Treasury. Yeah, go on, chuck me any more questions. Do an @ if you've got a question for me. This is what I put in the Q&A. Thoughts on the loss of safe spaces this will mean for both staff and... Oh, is the QA actually going? So the QA has not shown me anything. Go to channel? What's that? Is that a thing? No. Channels? No, it's not working. It doesn't seem to be. If I go to questions... Doesn't seem to... Oh, no, they are here. Sorry. Oh, okay, it has worked. Oh, excellent. Right. I'm going to work through some of these. People are asking me a question, and I'm ignoring the questions, apparently. This is hiding. I don't know why that's hiding. Fine. So, opinion on replacing ticket offices with being able to buy tickets in station bakeries or bookshops as a side business happens here in Germany. I mean, it's an ugly compromise, but again, the point is that you get rid of the skilled staff. There's no... That's just like... for basic tickets, those staff are not going to need to be trained, and frankly I don't think businesses will accept that as a possibility in the UK. Pineapple Man 3, does this work? Yes, it does. I just wasn't paying attention. I thought I'd get a little flag at the top, but it didn't work, so I'm just learning how this new Q&A thing works. Okay. David Shepherd, should private parties be allowed to take over abandoned ticket offices like with sub post offices? I see what you mean. Yeah, they shouldn't have to. I mean, possibly, yeah. Didn't that happen at Kenilworth? It wasn't a private individual or a third party ran it. What prerequisites do we need before we could, in theory, bring this in? It's those three. Vigorous fares reform to simplify the fare system. Much higher uptake of fare revenue. Much higher uptake of, or much lower uptake of, or use of ticket offices in terms of the number of fares. But 1 in 9 ticket sales in booking offices. That's too high to make this sort of decision. And then the other one is you need to have much further advanced the level access across the rail system. Having level boarding and also AFA, lifts and things. That's thanks, Tom. Bretty453, will Rover Ranger tickets get scrapped? I can see that being the long-term intention. Yes, I think they'll just reduce the number of those until they can scrap them. Test question, favourite dinosaur? Oh, Iguanodon was always a good one, I think. King Jimmy, if trains are cancelled, delayed, who would we ask for alternate routes, and if tickets are covered by other tops? I think the intention is that you'd use the internet, Twitter, which is funny given Twitter is unlikely to exist in a year. I mean, it probably will, but, it's a shambles. Rate limited tweets for using, how is a rate limited tweet going to work for the companies that have decided not to pay Musk the brown dollar? Yeah, I don't know. Uncritical Simon, how will people get alternative route to over distance? Yeah, alternate route, alternate ticket type, over distance excesses or staff discounts or other tickets not available at TVMs in future. Won't this risk staff violence? I don't know about staff violence. It's another stressful thing for a smaller pool of staff to deal with. It's another thing that lower skilled staff have to deal with, lower paid staff, 0-hour contract, or outsourced staff, like mighty staff they've got running the gate line, who will be left to kind of have to... They'll be sent an online course, an hour and a half online course to learn all the ticket types. I suspect that a lot of the... Well, what did LNER say, actually? Let me flick back to the LNER statement. Rovers and Rangers... the only place you can get them is at a customer information centre at a station that has a... So you have to travel to the station that does have a booking office in order to... So basically, like... So in the case of LNER, if I go back to Smallface, for all that stuff... So customer information centre is what they're calling booking offices, as you can see in the little sub-note here. Those are going to be at Edinburgh, Waverley, Peterborough, King's Cross, Newcastle, York. So that's 5 stations spread across the whole network. If you want a rover or anything like that, you have to travel to the big station. And that'll be the same for all the train operators. So if you want anything sophisticated... what about staff discount travel? Theoretically, they're going to make that available online, but I don't think they have yet. In theory, on train, but that means you can't get the, that's. But that's not good. So you see what I mean? This is just not well thought for. Tim Davis, if you were the Minister for Transport, what 5 rail things would I do? Oh my God, that's a too big a question. Peter, how do you think they'll ensure staffing levels? Currently, ticket officers are regulated and have to be covered, whereas actual station staff with ticket abilities. Indeed. Yes, indeed. Quite, Peter. Graham Harith, is there enough revenue from other sources, parcels, mail, freight, to make up for passenger revenue? No, because we're running a reduced capacity railway more broadly, so less of that as well. Opinions on the lack of safe places for staff and customers. This will lead to, because obviously if you close the booking office, that gives you an opportunity to sell the station building, or at least rent out, let's face it, sell the station building to someone else. To Costa get it, and then that means that you don't have any station building owned by the railway estate. So it's another opportunity. This is absolutely will be what Treasury have seen. It's another opportunity to sell real estate and make short-term cash. Absolutely the case. Lots and lots. OBS Studio is getting grumpy. OBS, what are you doing? Hopefully that has not caused an impact for you guys. I just got. In fact, you'll have heard that because that was a critical beat. Sorry, everyone. I should probably put that off. Anyway. Not sure if this will work. Is there any way to stop the closures apart from striking? Going into the definitely going into the consultations and submitting vigorous and hefty responses. Let's see. So lots of... Oh my God, I've now missed. Fiona Dawson, 10-year-old me being outraged when someone penned my ticket instead of using the ticket puncher. Didn't know she was born. Yeah, that's it. Signals to Danger. Hello, Signals to Danger. We need a crossover event to happen at some point soon. Workforce reform has been circling for some considerable time. Cynics might say it's been dropped this far into industrial action to try and capitalise on a public the government imagines might be done with striking staff. Yeah, this is a good important thing. The Conservative Party feed themselves a lot of propaganda because they just listen to their mates in the Daily Mail or the Times. Those and they just read the columnists who are angry about striking staff. They don't actually look at the public or speak to the public or look at actual polling. The public remain pretty broadly supportive of striking staff and therefore broadly supportive of industrial action. They're fed up of it, but their ire is with government, not with staff. And so, yes, exactly. Signals to Danger podcast. This is an attempt to capitalise on a perceived lack of support for the unions that actually isn't the case. Peter, am I being rude? Sorry. When am I being rude? Apologies if I'm being rude. Yes. I can't remember when I was rude, but very likely. King Jimmy, I guess the likes of newsagents selling tickets works for the metros, not for buying tickets for the national system. Exactly. You can do it when it's just the case that you hand over a carnet, and that's easy. Ticket office at Oswald Street is run by volunteers, if I remember correctly. Yeah, there's quite a few places like that, which is ridiculous. And alongside, we haven't even got angry about the fact that community rail partnerships are having their funding stripped as well. I don't think they should exist. I think they should be fully funded and should be. But fine, community rail partnerships. There's some lovely stuff they do. But we shouldn't have volunteers running the railway. It should be paid unionised staff. Chris Jackson. Gabowen was a successful private booking office run by a local school, but I think it fizzled out. Chester Street, another. Michael Dono. My local station has had its building shut since March 2020, which is a real shame. It was only built in 2012. Annoying aside from even the ticket office, as there's nowhere warm and dry to wait in. Yeah, bloody hell. Gareth is saying you meant Gabowen, not Oswald Street. That's okay, Gareth. Good old Oswald Street, yeah. Although, of course, we do mean Gabowen. Yeah, imagine being stuck at a station reaching a Twitter limit. Yeah, exactly. Chester Street used to run the ticket office at Chester the Track used to run the ticket office at Chester Street. A station notable for having lost all bar 2 of its CPA trains the other day. Yeah, that's because, Barry, as an example I gave recently in an interview, that Chester Street, it was a very popular commuting station, but it's obviously on the main line. And if you and in order to run more LNER services, then you need to sacrifice that local. And it was getting overcrowded, and the response to the overcrowding was, well, it won't be overcrowded anymore if we just cut the number of trains. What? Anyway, golly. Run out of hard drive space. Oh, yeah, that might be it. Yeah, true. Could be a hard drive space issue. I need to go in and find some stuff and delete. Yeah, my C drive is pretty full, which is annoying because I put most of my stuff in my solid state other hard drives, and it's kind of irritating. Anyway, right. Simon, say hello, Simon. They made staff online for the staff. Yeah, staff tickets are online for staff, but the system is crap and throttles ticket availability, almost like they don't want staff to travel. Yeah, funny that. The whole thing's a mess. Sebenezer, Mick Lynch talked about the issue with maintaining staff levels. This closure needs a Section 17 notice, whereas there's no legal hurdles to jump through should they decide to lower staffing levels later. Yeah, exactly. Ryan Hogg, Morpeth recently refurbished station, probably about to lose booking office, undoubtedly. Makes clearing space much easier. Yes. Good God. Right, let's have a look at the questions again, see if any more questions have been added. I did see NR Air Ops tweet this afternoon. Oh, there are a few, actually, Tim Ballum. Yeah. Anyway, right. Let's any other questions? Chuck questions. Let's end the Q&A, because that was actually just a bit confusing. It worked fine just doing it in the chat as I normally do it. Yeah, everyone can imagine running out of tweets. I don't know if, have fun downloading something and learning an app with spotty cell service. Yeah, precisely. The train hopper. Yeah. Signals to danger. Chuck me a DM. Let's make some magic happen. Everyone else, I think. Oh, it's depressing, isn't it? It's depressing. What a depressing state of affairs. Let us go towards the end. We'll come back for chuck a few more questions which we can answer at the end. But I'm gonna outro this one and then go and weep somewhere. This is available in podcast form, on audio-only form. You can go and listen to it, and listen to me getting angry. This was more of a collective collective therapy session rather than a hugely informative one. It's a bit of an open questioning session of all of us venting our rage and trying to shine some light into a pretty smoke and mirror situation, but hopefully still works in audio-only form. Patreon.com/Gareth Dennis to support these happening. There's going to be quite a few pre-records coming up. I've got shared parental leave coming up soon, so I've got a few interesting little things planned for you all, which is should be fun. Possibly some slightly shorter episodes as well. I've got a longer episode which I think I'm going to split into 3 bits, but it should be fun. So actually arguably more YouTube friendly content, but fine. PayPal.me/Gareth Dennis for loose change and abuse. I've not been in there for a while actually to see what abuse people have been shouting at me. That's something I'll need to do. GarethDennis.co.uk/merch for the merchandise that exists. That's bizarre that it exists. Suggestions always welcome in the Discord. GarethDennis.co.uk/Discord, which is where this chat continues ad infinitum. Yes. Oh, as another side note. Oh, right. Let's do that in a minute. Next week, Emily Turner's joining us. Hooray! Emily Turner is joining us to talk about how to make railway fandom a bit more inclusive. This is an important thing. It's an important subject that's close to both of our hearts. We had a really lovely chat. There's a pre-record next week. We loved the chat. And I'm looking forward to sharing that chat with you all. There we go. So, let's get my unhappy face. Oh, what's going on in desk cam? Nothing. Just my hand here. There, look. My hand, a packet of cheese savouries, some bourbon biscuits, and some my work laptop, which is where I spent most of today, and a guide to personal track safety, which was going to be what I would use in tonight's original episode, but I'm not going to use that. Oh, and also, these are quite nice. Just ordered these. Look, some... it's nice, isn't it? No, focus. I wish I could press a button to refocus. Anyway, there you are. You're safe. There's a nice little gay pride shop with a little kind of progress colours on a little badge, which is nice. I like that. Anyway, David Tennant was wearing some over the weekend, and I thought that's nice. Anyway, people want a bourbon biscuit. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. There's also a half-eaten brie and ham sandwich at the other end of the table as well. It's a bit of a mess in here. I for all sorts of reasons. Life has got a bit on top of me at the moment anyway. QA, there are a few questions going on here. Let's see. Is there a pressure group for keeping ticket offices open? We can join RMT, Association of British Commuters, others probably as well, but RMT and Association of British Commuters are probably the two to really find out what they're doing, support their campaigning. Acorn probably as well. Acorn will be doing stuff, so look up Acorn. Let's see. Signals to Danger, another side note, struggling with the reasoning of closing a booking office and retaining staffing where a station is already single crewed by a multi-skilled colleague who undertakes all duties. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, will do. Yeah, nice one. Signals to Danger. Love what you do. Let's talk trains at some point. Gareth treats every episode as a therapy session. Keeps us away from family and boys. Yeah, for sure. Vivek Vile, we're just going to abandon the disabled who need assistance to buy a ticket. Yes, pretty much. Is the Tory party living in the Victorian times? Essentially, yes. Yes, we've got some Emily time. Matt Reed, do you plan to do any live in-person episodes like I did in York? I do at some point eventually, but I'm afraid probably a bit of a pause on it for baby reasons for now, because the well-being of my wife and little one are priority at the moment. I don't have a huge amount of time outside of day job. I barely have time to do me natters, which I do very kindly. My darling wife lets me, not lets me, that sounds like it's permission. It's not the case. I do these, but yeah, time is quite limited. So I will at some point for sure. As the little one gets older, it becomes a possibility for sure. Right, yeah, they're lovely badges, aren't they? Let's see. Still only 26 likes, but 96 watching. Absolutely, get liking, hit that like button, everyone. Apparently, it's a good thing. Chris Jackson has the final word. The concept of any permitted route is unknown elsewhere and is clearly under threat here. LNER's single leg pricing has eliminated Leeds to St Pancras fares as an example. Interesting, Chris. There we go. Chris, always a pleasure. At some point, we have to. Chris, you know, I have to have a chat at some point. Get you on and have a. Yes, Mini Gareth is, Trevithica is well, very well, in fact. Everyone, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to give you a bit of a wave, and it's a bit of a depressing one, but this is the situation. And we just have to get angry. The reality is we have to get angry. Anger is our strongest weapon here, which is the anger to keep us awake in the middle of the night while we fill in consultation responses. And I'm in the process of filling out responding to some Transport Select Committee evidence, pushing that to the TSC, so we'll see what happens with that as well. Maybe they'll invite me back. In any case, I'm going to wave vigorously. Everyone, it has been a pleasure. It is nice. I feel better now than I did at the start of the episode, having chatted to all you lovely lot. So you all take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you, well, a past version of myself will see you for next week's episode. Cheerio, everyone. Cheerio.